alarm bells ringing tonight on the coronavirus outbreak in this country.
Breaking news about the coronavirus on both coasts.
Contain the coronavirus.
The novel coronavirus has spread to more than 100 countries and regions. The global confirmed cases have reached nearly 330,000. WHO declared the coronavirus outbreak a pandemic. This means the epidemic has become a common challenge facing all human beings. However, the incessant smearing of China by some Western governments and media at the onset of the outbreak can be deemed another kind of epidemic. We have summarized some typical negative arguments targeting China in international public opinion. On January 31, U.S. Republican Senator Tom Cotton claimed on Twitter the coronavirus is a bioweapon leaked from a Wuhan lab. But his argument is barely endorsed by the mainstream Western opinion. Experts from renowned universities and institutes said the conspiracy theory is untenable. A bioweapons expert from MIT points out the coronavirus does not meet the requirements of a bioweapon. A good bioweapon needs to be highly lethal, but with minimal communicability. The internationally acclaimed medical journal The Lancet also issued a joint statement signed by 27 top global public health scientists. The statement says the coronavirus originated from wildlife. In fact, the origin of the COVID-19 remains unknown. It should be left at the discretion of the scientists to make the final judgment. On February 3, the Wall Street Journal published an article titled "China is the real sick man of Asia." The Chinese were historically referred to as the sick man of Asia by Western powers. The stigma has been a scar and an eternal pain in the hearts of the Chinese people. Since the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1949, the country's public health care has improved dramatically. Malignant infectious diseases such as smallpox and schistosomiasis were quickly eradicated. China not only built a better healthcare system for itself, but also sent medical aid teams worldwide to support the battle against epidemics such as Ebola. On February 2, Der Spiegel, Germany's largest weekly magazine, released its latest issue featuring the coronavirus on the cover. Beneath the coronavirus was a headline "Made in China" in big yellow letters. The yellow peril theory originated from Mikhail Bakunin in Russia. It was given a systematic discourse by the notorious British colonialist Charles Pearson. Then the German Emperor William II and the Russian Tsar Nicholas II carried forward the theory to a higher level. However, in the globalization era, human civilization has shifted from the old zero-sum game paradigm of East versus West, yellow versus white. When facing public health emergencies, no race can stand alone. It is only through cooperation that human beings can defeat the virus. On February 20, Real Clear Politics published an article saying the Chinese government during the epidemic is reminiscent of George Orwell's 1984. The following reasons explain why such an opinion can find a market in Western society. First, people tend to believe stories they are familiar with. Most people know the story of 1984, but not many in the world know much about China. Western media uses stories familiar to Westerners to draw a comparison. Second, this is a result of reports catering to the Western audience. For the Western audience, a terrible China is clearly more alluring than a normal China. Who would not want some sensation and excitement in the mundane life? Third, the West is blinded by their ideologies. At the beginning of this outbreak, some Western media, such as The Atlantic, believe that the Western democratic system is better at fighting the virus. The New York Times criticized China's lockdown as hurting people's liberties. However, facts have proven that the coronavirus outbreak that befell in Wuhan can happen anywhere in the world. Fighting the virus is a matter of human survival rather than politics. The biased reports from the West have impeded the rest of the world from discerning the severity of the epidemic, misleading people in the West to believe that democracy can somehow make them immune from the outbreak. Along with the outbreak comes the stigmatizing of China. Since March 16, U.S. President Donald Trump started to use the racist rhetoric Chinese virus to refer to COVID-19. Later, he used the phrase multiple times during press conferences. The WHO has officially named the novel coronavirus COVID-19 as early as February 11. According to rules, the name of the virus should not involve geographical locations, animals, individuals, or groups to avoid discrimination. Despite wide criticism, Trump claimed this is not discrimination because the virus came from China. A photo by a Washington Post reporter revealed that Trump had manually crossed out the word corona and replaced it with Chinese in his briefing note. His speech fueled the xenophobia and hate speech toward Asian Americans. Trump's Chinese virus phrase appeared after the U.S. stock triggered circuit breaker for the third time within 10 days, and the number of confirmed cases in the U.S. skyrocketed. The Trump administration's constant shifting of blame to China is a visible attempt to conceal its own failure in containing the epidemic in the U.S. On March 24, amid growing criticism, Trump announced to stop using Chinese virus. For the past few months, China did what's necessary to protect its people's lives. Its efforts and sacrifices were repeatedly questioned, smeared, and defamed. China instantly swung into action to lock down Wuhan on January 23 at the onset of the virus outbreak, built makeshift hospitals, closed public places such as schools, malls, parks, and cinemas, and used all necessary means to trace infections. WHO experts have affirmed China's achievements in containing the epidemic, but their remarks were distorted as favoring China. As the situation in China improves, Europe has now emerged as the new epicenter of the pandemic. Western nations finally realized they are equally vulnerable to the virus and began to emulate China's footsteps in enforcing lockdowns and building makeshift hospitals. At the same time, China is offering help within its capacity to the world. Virus transcends borders. It doesn't care about ethnicity, wealth, or political ideology. It's vital to stop stigmatizing and blaming each other and join hands to fight against COVID-19, our common enemy.